Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on template inheritance. Let's learn how we can use Django template inheritance to practice dry coding principles. Okay. Template inheritance allows us to create a base template we can inherit from. Earlier we saw that we created a base HTML file but left it blank. In this lecture we are going to explain what we are going to be using it for, and in the next lecture we will actually code out through the example. Template inheritance saves us a lot of repetitive work and it makes it much easier to maintain the same base look and feel across our entire website. For example, if we wanted a nav bar at the top of our page, it would not make sense to have to continually have the same nav bar HTML code in each individual HTML file. Before this lecture, we used to have to the same nav bar each HTML code over and over again. If we wanted to extend it to every page in our Django project, granted, we haven't actually done that at all yet, but we would have had to do that given what we know so far. So instead of doing that, we can actually set it to the base HTML file and inherit it using inheritance, template inheritance. This idea is also sometimes known as template extending, as in extending the base store HTML file to other HTML files. The inheritance does not need to do just be limited to one based HTML file. You can extend multiple templates. Before you begin any Django project, it's always a good idea to sketch out the main idea and organization by hand. This will help you realize what can be used for template inheritance and what application you should create. Planning out your project in this manner will really give you a good idea of what code is going to be constantly reused. So you can put that into your base .html file. Okay, so what are the main steps for inheritance? It's actually pretty simple. First, you find the repetitive parts of your project, things like a nav bar or a picture or a brand that you are going to see on most of the pages. Then you create a base template of those repetitive parts, such as the nav bar. Then you set particular text in the base template and we'll show how text in just a second. Once you have done that, you extend and call those texts anywhere else in those other HTML files that are not the base HTML file. So what does this actually look like? Well, on the left hand side, we have that based on HTML file. That is the file. It's going to have things like links to your JavaScript, your CSS, your Bootstrap, or a bunch of HTML. Things like navbar, etc. Stuff that you want to inherit into the other pages. Okay, then inside the body, stuff that you don't want on every single page, you have these two main tags, and that's the block tag with the name of the block. In this case, it's the body block, and then you have the end block tag. Then you can have some more footer HTML outside of that, and in that left hand side, based on HTML. So basically, that is saying everything outside of that is going to be inherited in the other files. So we can see here we have some other HTML file, and we want to make sure that the first line is always uh, doc type HTML. After that, you can call the extend and then actually call the path to your base HTML file. And then after that, you call block body underscore block that matches the name in your base HTML file. And then you have your HTML that is specific to the other HTML file stuff that wasn't in the base .html. Then once you are done with that, you call in block. So you can see it's kind of the reverse or opposite. On the left hand side, you see everything outside of that is going to be passed in. When we extend it to the right hand side, and on the right hand side everything inside those body blocks is going to be put into the base.html or extended with the base.html. Okay, so let's actually walk through a basic example of this template inheritance. It's actually a very really easy and smooth process, and once you start using template inheritance, it's actually going to make it much easier to read HTML files across your web page, because you are going to get rid of all the junk repetitive code like the navbar that will all go to your base HTML file. Okay.